Hello and welcome back. Thank you so much for returning to go through this journey with me. I am Lauren and this is Chicago Reacts. Today I am reacting to part 2 of every single Warhammer faction explained, and this is also my part 2, so if you have not yet seen my part 1, let's go and check it out. It is in the link. It's somewhere. One of the places has a link, and it will take you right to my part 1 of this. We did talked about the last of the humans, the Primarchs, and a bunch of the Eldar last time. So this time we're continuing with Eldar and like figuring out some of the tabletop stuff and looking at some really cool art. So I'm very excited to continue on. I discovered last time I side more with the chaos side of things in this particular session. In this game I definitely side more with chaos, as you can tell, because look at the little green screen issue that I'm having. Yay, fixed it, kind of. Anyway, that's what I got going on. So thank you for dealing with my technical glitches that I'm dealing with. This is fun. Anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. You can make fun of my technical issues in the comments below. And also, let's continue and watch more about the Eldar and the tabletop games and all sorts of fun stuff. We're gonna go back just a bit.
Definitely doing a little bit better than they were before. Eldar are fast, cunning, and what they don't make up for in tankiness, they make up for in extremely advanced weaponry. They also call humans Monkai, which is something I mentioned earlier. That is a derogatory slur
because of monkeys.
Humans in the Warhammer world. Why is it called Monkai? Well, it's because you can't, in your game, call people monkeys. On the tabletop, exactly what I said. Not very tanky, generally pretty squishy, hit like trucks and move at Mach 5. Fast, hit hard, die fast. Exactly how it sounds. They've been good for a very long time too. We bring only death and leave only carry-on. It is a message even a human
yes, just
Eldar. So,
I love that.
Hari. Let's talk about the Dark Eldar.
Yes, let's do it.
Today's episode of How Fucked Up is Fucked Up. That's fucked up.
So those people I mentioned in the Webway, in the super deranged cults and the depraved people of the Eldar, in the Webway they didn't quite get a hold onto them. Slaanesh like has them, but it has them on like by the pinky finger. And they're slowly being consumed by Slaanesh, but they found out they can stave her off by doing Slaanesh things.
Okay.
The Dark Eldar are by far the worst, most horrifying, disgusting, depraved, and brutal race in all of Warhammer 40k. These are entirely a group of people whose full purpose to save their species from extinction, to go into planets, raid them, and take as many slaves as they possibly can to torture them for 1, 5, 10, 20, a million years, because that torture will keep them from dying.
Oh my
God.
God.
Very BDSM style too. They definitely have a lot more spiky bits and they have a lot more of that kind of leathery black look to them. But let's say you are an upstanding Imperial citizen, living life on a regular planet. You get invaded by the Necrons.
Those exist?
The Necrons will shoot you with a deatomizer, and you will be destroyed in a millisecond, and that's it.
Okay.
Not the worst way to go.
I'll take it.
You are invaded by Chaos Marines or something. You take a bolter shot to the head or a chain sword across your stomach, and you get cut in half. Painful, but not the worst. The Orcs arrive. They beat you to death. Hurts, but, you know, whatever. Tyranids, they eat you alive. It's pretty rough. The Dark Eldar. This is going to get a little graphic. I apologize. You pray you die.
What a way to start.
You don't. You are instead taken as a human slave. Your life will be endless work and agony, 24/7. They will make sure you can't not die, as your pain satisfies them. They will hook you up to all manner of torture devices. They will inject pain-based like stimuli drugs directly into your nervous system. They will slowly run razor blades across your skin. They will fillet you and just pull out your teeth and your fingernails one by one. They will remove your appendages and your skin and wait for it to grow back so they can do it again. They will murder and torture and use the R word, it rhymes with grape, your entire family in front of you and do the exact same thing to them. You yourself will also be rhymes with grape anywhere and everywhere possible. And this will occur for 20 years until you are no longer satisfying to them. And then you will be contorted, crushed, and twisted into some form of trophy, a fleshy trophy, or a ring, or a couch, or a TV stand, or perhaps a wonderful hat, while you are, of course, still alive and breathing. And you will become a moaning, fleshy trophy for eternity.
Oh.
And that is what happens when you are taken by the Dark Eldar.
No.
They are the most depraved, most horrifying race in all of 40k. They look the part, and they do it so they all don't die. They are literally forced to do this, because if they don't, Slaanesh's grip will get harder, and they will have their souls pulled away. So long as they keep doing this, Slaanesh is like, "You're doing good, man. You're doing solid. You keep that shit up, you elf-eared bastards." That's the Dark Eldar. That's the Drukhari. They are horrible. On the tabletop, they're actually kind of like Eldar, but more extreme. They are even squishier than the Eldar, but they hit generally even harder. Fast attacks, skirmishers, really quick, speedy, like get around them, do a lot of damage, get away kind of stuff. That's most of the Dark Eldar. Look up the definition of grim dark in a dictionary. You'll find a picture of the Dark Eldar. And Sev from Republic Commando. A quote from Mr. Vecht. "We are the lords of despair, masters of terror. Dread and agony are our meat and wine, and they are plentiful indeed."
I think you need to read that a little bit like, "We are lords of despair, masters of terror." You know? Dread and agony, or whatever it was. You know, are our meat and wine, and they are plentiful indeed. Like, you need to, like, punch it up if you're gonna read that.
Wine, and they are plentiful indeed.
Yum.
Dark Eldar. Let's talk about the Harlequins.
Yay! Clowns!
What's the matter, Andy? Don't you want to have some fun?
The Harlequins are a bizarre race of Eldar. They're demonic clown performers. They're like a weird mix of Sander Cohen from BioShock and Jin from League of Legends, but in a more clown theme. They're artists of death and perfecters of their craft. They do not belong to Craft Worlds or any of the weird Drukhari people. They guard something called the Black Library, which is this giant tome of never-ending knowledge deep in the heart of the Eldar Webway, and also guarded by their god named Kegorok, I believe is how you pronounce his name. He is the laughing god, but it's the Eldar's laughing god? And these are the Harlequins, the Harlequin clowns. These are Eldar clowns, okay? So imagine the things that an Eldar, these depraved individuals, would find funny. And this is the god of that. It's a horror clown. These are gods of horror for us normal people. For them, they're like, oh, it's so funny. They're all dying horribly. Honk, honk. They're very bizarre.
Well, sometimes that can be funny.
To describe, they've escaped the ruinous powers.
Like, have you seen some of these, like, horror movies? Sometimes the way that people die in those is just very hilarious. And it's like, I know it shouldn't be funny, but it kind of is. Sound off in the comments. Let me know what is the funniest horror movie death that you have seen recently.
Of Slaanesh somehow, but their main thing is guarding that Black Library. And the Harlequins just... they're demon clown performers. They're barely any models on the tabletop. They're good at melee. They're demon clowns. I'm not sure. I got a quote. "It is too easy for an Eldar to embrace the obscene virtues of chaos, for Slaanesh is nothing more than a manifestation of the Eldar mind in its most wild and unconstrained form. Human morality is meaningless to the Eldar, and to the dark side of the Eldar mind, all life is to be expended at a whim. Cruelty and generosity are but the impulse of a moment. Beauty and sensuality are virtues that can be expressed in bloodshed just as easily as in song. To an unfettered Eldar mind, there is neither sanity nor madness, but merely a wave of perfect existence fulfilled by its own savage momentum.
Yikes.
They're very strange. The Harlequins, Drukhari, Eldar, they are an anomaly that make humans seem completely easy to understand in comparison. They range from rekindling their civilization to horrifying murder and also clowns. They are all over the place.
Also clowns. Yeah, the clowns is important.
Quite well, and are rather interesting, especially with the whole Slanesh murdering everyone bit. So, yeah, Eldar. Now, bugs.
Ma, they following me, Ma. They following me. These, the bugs.
The bugs.
The
I don't know what that's from.
Tyranids. Now, you want to talk something a little more fun, a little more simple than all this crazy Eldar shenanigans? Let's talk the Tyranids.
Let's talk the Tyranids.
Do they look like Zerg? Hell yeah, they look like Zerg. You want to know why they look like Zerg? Because they were actually supposed to be what Zerg were. Apparently StarCraft was supposed to be a 40k game in the beginning, hence why they look so much like Eldar, Zerg, and the Imperium of Man. Like, kind of Space Marine-y, those Marines, huh? They look a little bit Space Marine-y to me.
They do.
I don't know. You really fucked up on that one, Games Workshop, didn't ya? Tyranids are a giant infestation of unfathomable proportions. These are giant, extremely bio-advanced hive mind organisms that are basically all about absorbing as much biomass as they possibly can to evolve and mutate to be extremely potent and powerful and kill and eat anything in their path. They are probably the least evil faction in all of 40k because all they want to do is eat shit. They want to nom nom the entire galaxy.
It's a biological imperative.
And we food. Also, this Tyranid hive mind has a presence in the warp. In fact, Tyranids in their own right have a massive presence in the warp. They have a thing called the Shadow in the warp specifically, where when they are coming in to invade a planet, they have this weird ability to kind of cut off the warp on all the psychers on that planet. And how do you get help across the stars? Well, you need the warp, because you need that for interstellar travel. So with people unable to call for help from the Tyranids, these are just easy pickings. And an entire giant Tyranid hive fleet comes out of orbit and just will massacre, absorbing all that biomass and turning them and all of their other Tyranids into even more advanced monsters. They come in so many varieties too, all based on what is important. Tiny little ripper swarms for scouting and having little dudes eat people up, to the Hormigons, Termagants, and Gene Stealers, all the way to the Hive Guard and the Exocrines and the Swarm Lord, to Hive Tyrants and their giant battle fleets, and even something as crazy as the Hierophant Bio-Titan. The Tyranids come in all forms and sizes depending on what they require. They are extremely good at anti-biological weaponry. There is no way you can plague them or blight them. They have extremely strong armor, carapaces and such. Tyranids are nigh perfect organisms and are pretty spooky when it comes down to how they handle all of their genetic material. Keep feeding them, they'll keep evolving. They keep on creating new horrifying organisms to spread across the galaxy.
I was wondering why that last one looked so hominid. And I wondered if it had to do, like, are they absorbing, like, all the biomass and the DNA and stuff that they're absorbing? Are they actually taking on certain characteristics of the things they eat? And they are, in fact, which is cool.
And you want to know what the most terrifying part of the Tyranids is? We might be surrounded. There have been like around 6 or 7 Tyranid hive fleets. Behemoth, Kronos, all these different kinds of hive fleets. And they've all arrived in the galaxy from different points. Different sections of the Milky Way galaxy have had different Tyranids come through. And that is horrifying. Because as far as we know, we could just be surrounded on all sides by Tyranids. The only reason you may not hear a whole lot about Tyranids is because it's a little bit hard to have a bunch of story off of one hive mind genocidal monsters. all these giant bugs swarming in, killing and eating everybody and evolving. Well, I mean, as cool as there are some cool characters, the Swarm Lord, Old One Eye, you can't really have a whole bunch of major character-based stories around them. As awesome as they are, they're simple. They want to eat you. They want to eat you and absorb your biomass. They are simple bugs. If you want something a little more complex, talk Gene Stealer cults.
All right,
I have
let's
all
do
the
it.
pot I want, I get around faster than walking, and wherever I need a seat, I can just sit on my balls.
Gene Stealer cults are a special brand of Tyranid that can slowly infect themselves into different kinds of society. And by infecting them, they can rise up to where they all pray and believe in these regular humans, pray and believe into their Tyranid hive mind gods. And these brood lords, and I think they're called patriarchs, all can turn an entire world all based into Gene Stealers, and these are called Gene Stealer cults. An
Yikes.
entire hive world of the Imperium can be turned into nothing but servants to the Tyranid masters just by infecting them and screwing with their genetic code a little bit. They also have this cool like Mad Max look, which is really neat. They are definitely one of the bigger threats to the Imperium besides Chaos. I keep saying biggest threat to the Imperium. They're up there though, because you, dingus, stepped on a bug in middle school. Asshole. There is a cancer eating at the Imperium. With each decade, it advances deeper, leaving drained, dead worlds in its wake. This horror, this abomination, has thought and purpose that functions on an unimaginable galactic scale, and all we can do is to try to stop the swarms of bioengineered monsters it unleashes upon us by instinct. We have given the horror a name to salvage our fears. We call it the Tyranid race. But if it is aware of us, it must know us as nothing but prey. Tyranids.
Nope.
They're cool. But are they as cool as the orcs?
Okay, we're gonna pause here because this seems like a good spot to stop, because we're edging into a different type of being, and this is what I should have done the first time. Is I should have stopped after the people and then just done the elves and maybe the bugs, and now we're gonna go into orcs next time. But yikes, y'all. I mean, I guess I started out the video by being like, oh, I'm kind of on the side of this chaos stuff. Not necessarily the Eldar, they seem wacky. But like, then you started talking about the Dark Eldar. I was like, oh, it does get worse. It does get worse. Also, I think it would be kind of funny to feed the Joker to the Clown God. Because, I mean, he thinks he's all that, but like, is he really though? Anyway, I just thought that would be funny. I've got my Harlequin right here. She watches the videos with me. But that is irrelevant. Whenever someone says Harlequin, I tend to think first of Harley Quinn and then of Harlequin romance novels, you know, the bodice rippers. It tends to be where my brain goes for that. All of that is fully irrelevant to everything in front of us today. So thank you for tuning in, for watching this one with me. I am very excited to finish this up next time, starting with the orcs. We're going to get to go through a couple of different factions. I do wonder, it's like, okay, though, before I get into it, why is this Imperium so hell-bent on killing all of their own people when you got the Tyranids out there? Like, wouldn't it make, let's like worry less about heresy and more about giant bugs from space who are trying to just eat you for no reason? I think that would make more sense, but again, as someone, I guess, who's not overly religious, it doesn't really make sense to me why people would go that. Anyway, that gets a little bit into territory we don't need to get into, so we will avoid it. Sidestep that pile of shit, and let us continue. Thank you again for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, to the other content creators on our channel, and our other channels as well. And I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. If you can become a Patreon, we also appreciate that. You get a couple of extra perks if you're a Patreon. You get polls, you get unedited content when it comes to like movies and TV. You get videos out early. You can have a little bit more sway in the videos that I watch. All sorts of fun things for the Patreon. Also, you get your name in a fun list, and you get to watch your name go up on the internet. Speaking of which, I shall bid you adieu, and I will see you all for part 3 of part 2 of all of the factions of Warhammer explained. Bye-bye.